Good morning. Going to have a quick look at the Bund today, and we had a massive move up on Friday, as you can see from holding the mouse, and this was on the back of French downgrade by S&P as well as a few other European countries. So first of all, there was a rumour in the market, and then afterwards, as the rumour gained more traction and more credibility, the moves got stronger, and then we saw the Bund actually break above 140, which was the first time in its history, pushing the yields to new record lows, and it's quite unbelievable how low the yields are right now, but that's what people are willing to do. People are actually willing to pay the German government to have their money. That's the state of the markets right now, and that's just the way that that's the strength of the German economy, really, because it's the main real strength compared to whereas the rest of the Eurozone is faltering. Germany is like the strong country out there where unemployment is falling, activity is still strong, even though GDP has dwindled a bit, but it's only a matter of time before this will all catch up with them, since they're totally integrated into Europe. If we look into technical side of things, the last meeting, last video, we were looking at this trend line over here that you can see, and it looked like we were going to bounce off and then continue going lower and test around this 138.10, but we actually broke out ever so slightly. We actually went about 10 ticks above this upper trend line, then we went back into it, broke above again, then came back into it, but we sort of bounced off this lower trend line, which has been a trend line that's been holding quite a bit of time for this overall long-term trend, as you can see, although we had a bit small movements in and out of it, but this is where we bounced off of it, off 138.73, and then we pretty much went up 150 odd ticks, and we reached a high of 140.23. We sort of double topped there, and then afterwards we came down good 40 ticks. So now we've bounced off this up trend line, as you can see here, that we've sort of got, and then we've sort of bounced off that, and now we're sort of playing around the 140 level. The question is, do we stay above this upper trend line? Probabilities say that it's unlikely, as it actually becomes mathematically very improbable to maintain these sort of levels with yields where they are. There'll always come a point where investors will find a better way to put their money rather than paying literally to have their money somewhere. And because of that, I do believe that it's going to come back into this channel, and we'll be flirting around. We'll probably stay above 139 for the near future anyway, until if there's any sort of massive coordinated European intervention or something like that that's going to help these countries get out of the rut that they're in. And but in terms of levels to look for coming down, like the first one that I'll be looking at is 139.36, which seems to be a pretty strong one. This is where we pretty much went to on this initial spike up about a week and a half ago, and a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and this is where we found a bit of resistance as we sort of try to break above that level again before we actually popped up. Because as you can see on this bar here, if I expand it, as you can see, we sort of broke above it, but then we retested this level 139.36 before we continued to move up higher. So that would be something that I'll be looking for, 139.36. But even more short term, be looking at this upper trend line and seeing how much it sort of bounces off this upper trend line. So we're trading at about 139.19 right now, but depending on how long it takes, this upper trend line is showing around 139.80, so another 10 ticks down, and then we'll see whether we maintain above this trend line or stay around it, or whether we're going to come and head back lower and coming towards this 139.36 or the lower trend line, which is around 139.10, 139 flat. So that's the sort of levels that I'll be looking at. That's on the 60-minute. If we actually go to the 5-minute chart and see what's going on in a short-term time frame, today we've had pretty minimal movement. We've only had, we sort of opened up very high, well into the 140s, and then we sort of came off, and then this is where we bounced off that trend line that we're talking about, and since then that we just sort of treaded upwards, and now we're just sort of going sideways, which and this has been a US holiday today, could be just churning sideways for the rest of the day really, unless we get any other significant news. But yeah, that's that for today. We'll see how it goes next week.